What's going on, everybody? Before we get into this video, I just want to take this time, preface this with an announcement. This year I'm going to be producing a 2021 NFL Draft Guide. Now, this guide is everything you need to know about the 2021 draft. I have mock drafts in there. I have 2 mock drafts, positional rankings for every position, so we're going over that. Gashler's big board, my top 100, and how I feel about each later on in the guide. I also have an explanation as to how I grade, in-depth scouting reports, as I mentioned. Now, look ahead to the 2022 draft. This is exclusive. This is an offer that I'm running from today, Thursday, April 1st, to Sunday, April 4th, Easter Sunday. You'll be able to get 30% off on the draft guide. It usually costs $10, but it's coming down to $7. That's less than your monthly Spotify or Apple Music subscription, and it's a one-time payment. It helps me support me creating better graphics, better ability to buy a mic maybe, and be able to record more videos for you guys. Especially as we get into next season, I really am hoping to expand more, and I really appreciate you hitting my line and supporting me. I'm a small content creator, so I'd really appreciate that. But it's a completely exclusive. It's worth your while. I spent hours on this, and I've spent everything that I've done since December, quite frankly, on this draft guide. So if you're interested, please make sure to hit any of the links. They'll be hopefully up on the screen as well as in the comments. My email, nickgashler500@gmail.com. My DMs at GDN_scouting on Instagram, as well as my Twitter is @CoachGash if you want to follow that, or DM me from there. You can, and we'll talk about payment. It's super easy as long as you have Venmo or PayPal. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Alright, here we are, April 1st, right, if you're watching this on the day it comes out. If not, it's definitely going to be April or May. The 2021 safety rankings here. I'm going to start going down the list of guys. I mean, we did the quarterback rankings a little bit earlier in March. Might have been a little premature, but April, we're just going to go down the list of every position except for maybe tight end, because it's kind of just Kyle Pitts, and rank how I feel about each guy. We have about 9 safeties here that we're going to get into. So let's start with our first 2, who is Cisco here, and then Paris Ford here from Pitt, and then it's from Syracuse. Cisco is more of a free safety, while Paris Ford is more of a strong safety. However, I don't love both of these guys. I both feel like they could be really solid 4th-round picks, but aren't really day 2 guys. And I love talking about the day 1 and day 2 guys. So, Cisco, he's a solid free safety, solid in the passing game, yeah. Except he doesn't play that deep as a free safety, which is my big issue with him. He's a solid, aggressive tackler. He's not afraid to come up. He has good size at 206, and he's 6 feet. His athleticism is okay, but his instincts are also pretty solid. He recognizes and diagnoses plays very quickly, and is able to fly to the ball a little bit. But his run support isn't great. He doesn't do a lot against the run. He doesn't come up and make a lot of plays against the run, which I'd like to see improve. His range, he doesn't play very deep a lot. I think I just mentioned that. Which is kind of crucial as a free safety. I want to see him be a really solid center fielder. He could also improve in coverage. He struggles with one-on-one assignments. In zone, he could be better at keying in on players coming into his zone, coming down on them and defending them properly if they're open, and getting out. As a whole, like, Cisco kind of doesn't fit as a strong or free safety. Maybe if you're going to play a cover 2 look where he has some help with the corner on the other side, or the other safety over the top if he needs it, although in a cover 2 you shouldn't really need that. He could be a little bit better, but as a whole, he's kind of unproven to me in terms of deep free safety type, and I'd like to see him improve there. Ford is interesting because he was pretty hyped up throughout the season as a strong safety. I think he's definitely going to be more of a fit in the box. He's just inconsistent run supporter, though. He is a solid tackler. He hits hard, and he does do a good job of going low and having good form behind his tackles. But in coverage, he's in terms of man coverage. He's okay in zone coverage, but I'd like to see his ability against in man coverage to improve. His instincts, he kind of looks lost. I don't love his instincts a lot. He kind of just does not come down and is able to find the play pretty quick. He's a solid athlete, which really saves him a lot, I think, when he has to come down and make those run stops. But he's not there. He doesn't have a natural feel for the ball, and he doesn't know what he's doing. Moving on, we have Talanoo Hufongo when it decides to load here. Hufongo is a solid guy. I like him a lot in terms of what he can do. There he is. I like him a lot in terms of what he can do. I opened up with the Washington State film and originally expected to see Talanoo Hufongo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I really am hoping to see him. I was looking for him as a free safety or a strong safety. He lined up at Mike linebacker, and that was kind of a shock for me because I was not expecting him to do that. But his physicality and his ability to come in and make big tackles against the run, I really like, and that's a big positive to Hufongo's game. And I think that's ultimately what's going to get him drafted in the third round, over a Ford or a Cisco. He's not great in coverage. I'd like to see him improve as a coverage player, but he had some decent interceptions in 2020, and he kind of just made a really good impact. I think he was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, he was, and I think that definitely raised his stock up. He's a solid player, man. I like him a lot. Moving on, Richard LeCounte came up pretty quickly. I like that. Definitely an interesting player because he was a higher recruit out of high school, but kind of fell down there. I think you like him either as a high safety in coverage, but he can also come up into the box and play there. He's a solid all around with his instincts. He's very quick to recognize and see the play and go stop it. I like that a lot. His ball skills are okay. His range is okay. He's versatile in this way that although he's not great in coverage, specifically man coverage, he doesn't really need that as a free safety. I think he could transition definitely to be a free safety on the next level. He lacks physicality. Excuse me. I didn't really see LeCounte come up and make a ton of stops against the run, and if he did, he didn't do so in a way that I liked a lot. He's a pretty inconsistent tackler, is what I mean. But his athleticism and his instincts are really going to make him pretty valued as a prospect, and I think he could go in the third round. That's where I have him going. Moving on to our top 5 here, Javon Holland is a very interesting player because he was hyped up a lot as after he opted out in 2020, but you turn on the tape and you're like, right? However, I watched the Auburn game. The first thing that pops out is his range. He's flying around. He's really flying around the field, making plays from a center field position. And the second thing that pops out the most is his versatility. He played at both safety positions as well as slot corner and nickel corner, and did okay in that regard. I don't love his coverage skills though. Honestly, he didn't play a lot of zone coverage at Oregon, and then additionally, in man coverage, he just did not really do a solid job of keeping up with his wide receiver. He had hiccups every now and then there, but he's going to be a very good tackler and a run support guy, and he can also cover. I mean, it's not like he can't cover. He just has a lot of hiccups, and I think if we had a chance to see him in zone coverage more, we'd probably feel differently about Javon Holland's coverage ability. But the coverage is not great. The instincts, a lot of the times when Holland's on the field reading plays, he kind of just looks lost. And I don't love that a lot, especially out of safeties. I want him to have a much more natural feel for the football and to know where that's going. So, really, the safety class is super shallow outside of the first and second guys up here, and potentially the third and fourth guys. This is really where this drops off, right? You have these guys grouped together, and then I think these 3 on the bottom are also grouped together pretty well as well in terms of talent. Moving on to our fourth guy, our Darius Washington. I really liked our Darius Washington. He was 5'8" and 178 pounds, so he's definitely not. If you look at him on paper, you'd probably disregard him just because he's so small. He's the first thing that popped out for me when I watched our Darius Washington is just how intelligent he is. Our Darius Washington knows what he's doing. He helps his teammates on assignments, confusing assignments, looks from the offense that they give him. He's helping them out. He has really good natural instincts because of that, and he knows he has a good feel for the football. I like that a lot. He is also a very good coverage corner. I think if you put him in a too high safety look, despite his size, he's going to be very good. That's where TCU kind of put him with Trayvon Moffie, who we're going to get to later on. And I just think that's his best bet. He's okay in the run support, and he's definitely a really good form tackler and an aggressive player. I just think the big issue with our Darius Washington, not one, but two issues here, is his size is 5'8". I don't know who's going to like that and who's not going to like that. And that could do a lot to his draft stock as a whole. Secondly, his athleticism is very lacking at times. I don't love him as an athlete, and I think he could definitely improve there. Other than that, he's probably one of the best traits guy, just trait by trait in this draft class. He's missing those intangibles, and if he had those intangibles, he'd likely be up here at safety 1. But because I'm still waiting to see how he can be better as an athlete, as well as how NFL team's going to want to see him in the size, his stock drops a little bit, which is why he's at safety 4. Number 3, Homson Toney, who I was very actually impressed with when I watched his tape. He was a guy that tore his ACL at the end of 2019, had very limited playing time in 2020 because of that, I think. But I like him a lot. He can fit either as a strong safety or a free safety. He has great size at 6'4" and 220 pounds, almost as like a linebacker, which is why I think he'd fit better in the box as a strong safety. But he also has that size as center fielder to play free safety at 6'4". So it's an interesting dynamic here with Homson Toney. Again, he's a very aggressive, instinctive run defender. He's going to diagnose and read where the play is going very quickly, and he's going to get there. He's a punishing hitter. He had 2 fumbles against Boise State alone, which is one of the games I watched. And he goes low and he wraps up and is able to get to be a consistent tackler and not give up a lot of bad plays. His versatility is there. The big thing I dislike, the size is also there. The big thing I dislike about Homson Toney is his athleticism. His speed is just average, is kind of below average, and he has a below average motor as well, which you can sometimes see in the game. And I think that ultimately affects his speed as well, because he's not going as fast. Secondly, I think his stock is going to drop probably below our Darius Washington, maybe even Javon Holland, because of that injury, that ACL injury. If we need to see when the medicals come out, if he's better, he could eventually go higher than them. But he's a guy that was very explosive on tape, and I liked a lot before his injury. Moving on to number 2, Trayvon Moffie. A lot of people have him as a first rounder. I have a first round grade on him, but it's one of those middle. I have a lot of middle first round grades and in other rounds as well. I kind of feel he could also be a second round guy. He's an 80, which on my scale is that type of player. Great size off the bat. He's 6'3" and he's 200 pounds. He has that center field size, and he's going to be playing center field on the next level. He has solid range. His ball skills are pretty nice. I like his coverage skills and his athleticism. The big deal with Trayvon Moffie right now is his lack of physicality. A lot of the times he gave you what I like to call a safety tackle, and when we talked about Richie Grant, who's on my number 1 safety, by the way, we're going to talk about Richie Grant not tackling like a safety. Trayvon Moffie kind of tackles like a safety. He's a little soft. He comes in there and kind of just goes for the knees and tries and takes him out that way. I'd like to see him be a little bit more explosive as a free safety. And get in there and really make tackles, which is why he's my safety 2 over Richie Grant, who is my safety 1. When I turned on Richie Grant tape, I was amazed. He stood out at the Senior Bowl, and I'd seen a little bit from there, but I had to take a deeper look. And he had been on my list because he had been a late season riser, but he really got on my list. And I liked Richie Grant so much. The ability that he brings to the game, I don't think he has a weakness outside of his instincts and potentially size. He's 6 foot, but his instincts can sometimes be lacking. He can be a little slow to diagnose plays, but other than that, his range is great. His ball skills are really great. He knows how to find the ball and locate it. His tackling is great. He hits like a strong safety, but he has the athleticism and the ability as a free safety and coverage. He's really good with run support. He can come up and make a lot of firing plays in the run. His tackling's awesome. His instincts lacking. In coverage, I like him a lot. He can not only be a man coverage guy, but also a zone coverage guy. He knows how to feel out routes and be physical enough to the point where it can be challenging for the receiver to get off of him, but not too physical to draw flags. I like Richie Grant a lot. He's far and away. There's a gap here. They're graded the same way, but there's definitely a gap here because I feel that Richie Grant should be a day 1 pick. He may not be. Surprisingly, he could be a day 2 guy, but I really like him a lot as a day 1 guy, and I think he's going to go in that. He should go in that. If I was drafting, he should go in that span. And when I'm making this draft stuff, I have my big board with just straight up grades. So Trevor Lawrence is 1, Sewell's 2, whatever you have you. But then I also like to keep another board of who I like as like feeling like, and Richie Grant would be pretty high on that sheet. I think I'd have Zach Wilson at 1, Kyle Pitts at 2. Richie Grant might be in the top 10 because I have a good feeling about Richie Grant. I think he's going to be a very successful safety wherever he might play because he has that versatility to be a strong safety or free safety, and he's going to be a really good player over these other guys. So that's about it. My safety rankings. It's not the best class in the draft, as I've mentioned, and you may see if you end up buying or choosing to look at my draft guide. Please do if you're interested. But it's not as deep as a position group as I'd like to see. But these 4-ish guys at the top offer really good value. You could even throw Javon Holland in there. Offer really good value, and I think could be a really solid players on the next level. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. For more content, we're going to probably be putting out 2 of these position ranking videos every week, maybe getting up to 3 if we need to, because there's only 4 weeks until the draft, so we're getting close. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe. Follow my Instagram at GDN_scouting. That'll be in the description. Follow my Twitter at Coach Gash. I have a lot of draft opinions on there, especially as these pro days are coming along. And if you're interested, please make sure to hit any of the links that are down below, DMs or email about this draft guide. We're trying to get a lot of units sold, and I'd appreciate the support. So if you guys watched to the end, comment your safety one, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Peace out.